The galactic archives are filled with cautionary tales about humanity. We read them, of course. We studied their wars, their art, their baffling capacity for both breathtaking creation and the senseless destruction. We thought we understood them. We labeled them chaotic, unpredictable, primitive. On my first Joint Command mission aboard the Starship Vigilance, I learned just how wrong we were. My name is Krell, formerly a decorated commander in the Silos fleet. This is the story of how a single human officer, Lieutenant Ava Briggs, shattered my entire worldview with a gesture so simple, yet so profoundly impossible, it still haunts my thoughts. The mission was a high-stakes reconnaissance of the Kessler Nebula, a volatile region of space known for swallowing ships whole. I was the senior officer, responsible for tactical decisions. Lieutenant Briggs was my human liaison, assigned by the Terran Alliance as a gesture of goodwill. She was infuriating. She questioned my orders, offered unsolicited gut feelings, and had a habit of smiling at the most inappropriate times. To me, she embodied every stereotype we had of her species: illogical, emotionally driven, and utterly undisciplined. I prided myself on logic, on data, on the cold, hard probabilities that had guided my people for centuries. Briggs operated on something else entirely, something I couldn't quantify. Tensions came to a head on the third rotation. Our long-range sensors picked up an anomaly, a gravitational distortion that didn't match any known phenomena. Standard Silos protocol was clear: maintain a safe distance, gather data, and withdraw. My decision was instantaneous. Helm, maintain current position. Deploy long-range scanner drones. We will observe from a safe distance. Briggs, standing beside her console, shook her head slightly. Commander, she began, her voice calm but firm, my gut tells me that's a mistake. We need to get closer. There's something inside that isn't just a natural phenomenon. Something that needs help. I felt a surge of irritation. Lieutenant, I sighed, my voice dripping with condescension, your gut is not a recognized tactical instrument. We will follow protocol. With respect, Commander, she countered, stepping forward, protocols are for known variables. This is an unknown. Sticking to the book might be the most dangerous thing we can do. The bridge crew, a mix of Silos and humans, fell silent. Her challenge was a direct affront to my authority. In my culture, such insubordination was unthinkable. I saw it as a symptom of human weakness and inability to respect a clear chain of command. Your concern is noted, and dismissed. Lieutenant, I snapped. Return to your station. She didn't move. She just stood there, her gaze unwavering. That was when I made the decision that would change everything. I needed to reassert control. I needed to teach her a lesson in humility, a lesson in the face of superior Silos discipline and technology. Security, I commanded, escort the lieutenant to the training deck. I will join you momentarily. It seems a demonstration of combat readiness is in order. A cold satisfaction settled over me. On the training deck, there would be no more room for gut feelings, only skill and reaction time. I would face her myself. I would show her, and the entire crew, the vast gulf that separated our peoples. This wasn't just about discipline anymore. It was about proving the superiority of my way, of the Silos way. I walked off the bridge, leaving a stunned crew in my wake. I didn't see the look on Briggs' face, but I could feel her quiet defiance following me like a shadow. The training deck was a vast, cavernous space with modular walls that could simulate any environment. I had them set to an open arena, stark and unforgiving. I stood at one end, clad in standard Silos combat gear. At the other end stood Lieutenant Briggs. She wore her simple human uniform, no more armor, no more enhancements. She looked small, vulnerable. Perfect. The parameters are simple, Lieutenant, I announced, my voice echoing in the chamber. Non-lethal setting. First to disable their opponent wins. This will be a lesson in respecting authority. I unholstered my rail pistol. It was a masterpiece of Silos engineering, firing a magnetically accelerated bolt at hypersonic speeds. Even on its lowest setting, the kinetic impact was enough to knock a person unconscious and likely break a few bones. It was overkill, and I knew it. Briggs simply nodded, her hands loose at her sides. She didn't assume a fighting stance. She just watched me, her expression unreadable. It took AM, centering the sights on her chest. A warning shot, a way to show her the futility of her defiance without causing permanent harm. This is your last chance to stand down, Lieutenant, I sighed, my finger hovering over the trigger. She didn't even blink. I'm ready when you are, Commander, she replied, her voice steady. That was it. My patience snapped. I squeezed the trigger. The rail pistol hissed, and a shimmering blue bolt of energy shot across the room. It moved faster than the eye could track. For any normal being, us Silos included, dodging it would be impossible. The only hope would be to anticipate the shot, and even then, the odds were astronomical. He expected to see her thrown backward, the lesson delivered. But that's not what happened. In the microsecond it took for the bolt to cross the space between us, something impossible occurred. Briggs didn't dodge. She didn't flinch. She just shifted. It wasn't a large movement, just a slight tilt of her torso, a subtle pivot of her shoulders. Her right hand came up in a blur, palm open. Time itself seemed to warp around her. The hypersonic bolt, a projectile that could punch through starship plating, slammed into her waiting palm. There was no more impact. No more explosion of kinetic energy, no more sound. It just stopped, as if it were a ball tossed gently by a child. The bolt's blue light pulsed in her hand, contained, tamed. The universe held its breath. My mind refused to process what my eyes were seeing. It was a violation of physics, a rejection of every law of motion and the energy had ever learned. I stared, my weapon still aimed, my mind a blank slate of pure, unadulterated shock. Briggs looked down at the glowing bolt in her hand, her expression one of mild curiosity, as if she were examining an interesting insect. Then, she looked back at me. Slowly, calmly, she walked forward. Each step was measured, deliberate. The quiet tap of her boots on the deck floor was the only sound in the vast room. She closed the distance between us, never breaking eye contact. It was frozen, a statue carved from disbelief. She stopped right in front of me, so close he could see the flecks of gold in her brown eyes. She held out her hand, the one holding the still glowing Railbolt. She was offering it back to me. I believe this is yours, Commander, she sighed. Her voice was not triumphant. It wasn't mocking. It was gentle, almost kind. It was the voice of a teacher correcting a student, of an adult indulging a child. And in that moment, my entire world crumbled. My pride, my belief in Silos' superiority, my faith in cold, hard logic, it all turned to dust. This wasn't a soldier. This wasn't a disobedient subordinate. This was something else. Something far beyond my comprehension. I slowly lowered my weapon, my hands trembling. I couldn't take the bolt from her. I couldn't even meet her gaze. The energy in the bolt dissipated, and it fell from her fingers, clattering harmlessly to the floor. The sound broke the spell. What are you? I whispered, the words barely audible. She finally smiled. It wasn't the infuriating smile from the bridge. It was a sad, knowing smile. We're human, Commander, she sighed. We're more than what's in your archives. We're depth. We have tea. She turned and walked away, leaving me alone in the silent training deck with the shattered pieces of my reality. From that day on, I started listening to her gut feelings. We found the distressed vessel in the nebula, a small science ship, and rescued its crew. Lieutenant Briggs had been right. That incident was never officially logged. It became an unspoken secret between us. But it changed me. I started reading the human archives again, but this time, I wasn't looking for flaws. I was looking for understanding. I read their poetry, listened to their music, studied their philosophies of hope and the resilience in the face of impossible odds. I realized their chaos was actually adaptation. Their emotion was a data processing system more complex than any computer. They weren't primitive. They were just different. They operated on a level of existence where the impossible was just another variable to be overcome. My career in the Silos fleet ended not long after. I could no more longer see the galaxy in simple black and white, in logic versus illogic. Ava Briggs taught me that the universe is far more complex and mysterious than any protocol could ever account for. I now serve as a cultural liaison, trying to bridge the gap between our peoples, trying to explain to my kind that you cannot measure humanity with charts and graphs. You can only stand in awe of their potential. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you get to witness a moment that defies all logic, like a woman catching a bolt of lightning in her hand and calmly handing it back. Thank you for listening. If you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales from across the galaxy.